that we live in up there at the moment. And it's strange because just before we demolished the house, I don't necessarily believe that artifacts and things have such a great presence in your house. But my wife made me realize that although I feel like my God is great and he's dead, no idol has any power in my house. But she made me realize that although I might be strong and I might be resilient, my kids are not. And these are portals or openings where demonic spirits and things can come in, and we need to get rid of this. So we did a little purge of the house, things that, everything's material, we're going to lose everything anyway, and we're moving into a tiny home, so we did a bit of a purge. And that same night, my daughter had a spiritual possession attack, and I, as a father, if your 9-year-old daughter goes through something like that, it just does something to you. And I reached out to Brother Raj, and he was there for me that day, casting out demons for the first time, kind of make scales fall from your eyes. And I realized if the enemy is being active in this world, I need to be active as well. I need to do something. I just can't say I'm a good Christian and stand and do nothing. I need to get involved. And I signed up to this mission vision school that I didn't really know what it was before it was too late. For good. And it's amazing again because all of a sudden, all of a sudden the spiritual warfare started happening. My wife, she's been struggling with the trigger finger for a very long time, and all of a sudden she had the operation being booked in. So how can I go on a trip if my wife with 3 kids can't use her hand? At the same time, work was going crazy. We just demolished the house. We're trying to build something that we could pay off this loan that we had to go on to demolish the house. Earlier the year, I thought I wanted to do a marathon. I'll do it for charity, but I want to create awareness about mental health. And in construction, we've got a huge issue. And then again, I'm signing up to this vision school. I want to do my first marathon. I've got this project to finish at home. I work full time and overtime most of the days, and something had to give. And that was just again the enemy's way of keeping us busy in this life, so that we don't have time for God's work. And so the easiest one was the marathon training. Just after 4 months of a 6-month program, I said that had to go. There's not enough time for everything. And then I almost cut my thumb off. I got about 65%. The circumference of the thumb was cut off. And again, I felt that was God's way of getting me to slow down. Because we were in such a rush to get this project finished so that we can start getting an income, so we can cover our expenses. And now I've got an injury and we can't finish. So now I can't go. And again, I feel like that was the enemy's way of trying to get me occupied in the worldly things. And me and the wife, we prayed about it and we said, it's causing tension in our relationships. And nothing that causes that amount of stress in my relationship can come from God. And I had to put this on hold and said, you know what? God will find a way. And if we lose everything, we lose everything. But it's clear. If the enemy is trying so hard to stop me to go, I've got to go. I've got to do this. So I signed up for a trip to go to Jordan for 2 weeks from the 5th to the 19th of January. And again, when the flight tickets came up, I had to pay it. My wife's been looking for my passport. I know exactly where it was in the house. We demolished the house. So it's all stuck in a container somewhere. And I've got this plane ticket to buy, but I don't know if I will ever find my passport because it's there somewhere. But so again, I felt like that was maybe God's way of testing again where my heart is. And I said, you know what, I'll pay the ticket. Again, I'll stop any work and I'll start searching for that passport because kingdom work has to come first. And the day after I bought the tickets, I told my wife we had a lot to do, but I said, let's stop, let's focus on that. And within 5 minutes of opening that container door, we found the passport.
Wow.
Was quite amazing. So maybe just a bit of history about the organization is, like I shared earlier, is of around 1,000 miles. All of the nations is around where the gospel started. How amazing is that? So over the next page, long story how I ended up choosing Jordan, but so Jordan was the place that I went, and I just want to share a little bit about Jordan. If we go back to the war 1967, it was a 6-day war. Again, I don't want to go into it too long, but the Arab nations saw that war as a victory, even though they lost the war in 6 days. And if you look at pictures of Arabic women before that war, they looked like our Western women. But they felt that they were victorious. Look, the big brother Israel, we landed a punch. And because we landed a punch, we pulled closer to the Quran, wearing the turbans and going back to their old customs. And because they felt that that was successful, a lot of other Arab nations started going back to the Quran as well. So although that war was a defeat for the Muslim nations, they saw that as a victory and they started pulling closer to their God. So just a couple of awesome stuff that are in Jordan where we went that's where Jacob wrestled God. We all know that story. It's obviously where John ministered and eventually baptized Jesus. Herod, the Antipas, he beheaded John, and that's where his castle was. Moses looked out over the Jordan into Israel to the promised land that he never entered. That's where he died. That's where Ruth and Naomi crossed the river. And also, we all know the story where the Israelites looked up at the bronze serpent with the snakes. So there's a couple more. I'm not going to go through them. So again, I just